New Arts Crest, where the banana factory was, and they're putting right across.
That was 9 o'clock start.
Yeah, it's right next to it. She's been Sloan Kettering is consulting, but right now she's a vet. So far, everything with Sloan Kettering.
Yeah.
Well, she might
It's
have
a nice
Not if
one,
you
right?
ask
It's
to
like
come
a
first.
right.
So
It's a different product, it's a much higher rate, I'm sure.
Third reported case.
7 of 9 penthouses.
So there's no.
I'm sure the Lehigh parents not keen on staying in the Comfort Inn.
No. And it's as convenient.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I will call to order the meeting of the Lehigh Northampton Airport Authority for April 28th, 2026. If everyone would stand and face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So that, would you please call the roll?
Paul Anthony.
Here.
Ann Baum.
Here.
Robert Brooks.
Here.
Frank Facciano.
Here.
Ricky Gower.
Present.
Justin Grimshaw.
Here.
John Hayes.
Here.
James Irwin.
Here.
Kevin Lott.
Here.
William McGee.
Here.
Jeannie McNeil. Glenn Reedman.
Present.
Kevin Surface.
Here.
Mike Stershik.
Here.
Jonathan Strauss.
Here.
Okay, any public comment?
Not at this time.
Okay, members of the board, I will take a motion for approval of the minutes of the March 31st, 2026 meeting.
So moved.
John, second by Ann. Any additions or corrections? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Frank?
So for the treasurer's report, I'm gonna let Todd do it this time.
Oh, wow, thanks, Frank. Appreciate it. Good afternoon, everyone.
Hey, good afternoon.
All right. Start off with our traffic, as we always do. I think pointed this out last week. January, February, and March were our third best traffic all time. Every single month it's been the third best. You can kind of see what's broken out there between aircraft up just a little bit year to date versus last year. American bus is up 22%, and obviously at this point there is no United bus. Just comparing us to all airports, you can see all airports. Our seats are down a little bit compared to all airports, but our throughput is a little bit better than all airports. I know Ann had brought up about seats. We are working on kind of incorporating that to our numbers. When you think about us, we had bus last year and bus this year, so we're trying to incorporate that. Hopefully we'll have that for next month for you. It's really getting into the overall load factors and what's going on, us versus everybody else. But I thought that was a great question, thank you. And this is comparing us to our peers, just kind of breaking them down here. We're kind of in that middle range. I know we were talking earlier that at some point, maybe later this year, we might do some tweaks to some of our peers. 2 or 3 might come off as some better representations of some of our peers. But that'll come when we do our next benchmarking somewhere around August. We should get that from last year. But you can see where we are again compared to our peers. Throughput, we're not in and out of the park. Seats down a little bit compared to our peers. Month of March, we had a good month. Not quite as good as last year, but pretty close. We're doing pretty well, all things considered. Positive net income, keep it moving. The finance guys should just keep talking when you're making money and things are going well. And we can see where we are year to date, doing well as well, considering all things with the snow events that we had. We're in good shape. I know I talked about this last week. We did pre-order some supplies and stuff from some of our snow last year to help us out for this year, because we had a pretty miserable December last year, but the winter was pretty brutal. And thanks to Steve and his team for the hard work that they do, all during the winter time out there cleaning the snow and all elements, cold, everything, his whole team. And we should probably give him a hand. Yeah, I know he Steve and the rest of the maintenance team do a great job, really out there in the elements, while some of us are in our fuzzy slippers looking out the window. Breaking down our top profit centers, again, parking is usually at the top, and then toward the bottom, you can kind of see with airfield and terminal, some of the things that we deal with as far as staying competitive with some of our rates, so there's some subsidies involved. Major budget variances year to date, really on the aviation services, employee benefits. We did cover the hours that we had in the budget, pretty close to them, but we didn't have as many full-time employees. And the mix is a little bit more favorable than we had in our budget, so that's a big part of the employee benefits. Net interest, again, because some of our projects are we're a little behind schedule as far as some of the projects that we ambitiously thought we would do early. That's helping us out with some of our cash. Connie and her team with some of the de-icing. And you can see again what I was talking about on the depreciation there. A little ahead of a schedule because some of these projects are not quite where we thought they would be at this point. Again, tend to be a little aggressive in what we think we're going to do. So that's not a total surprise. And then parking revenue, this early in the year to have ahead of schedule is pretty good. And then breaking it down between personnel and non-personnel. Non-personnel, we're pretty much flat to budget. And then personnel costs, a lot of that mentioned earlier on the employee benefits, down 4%. And then cash, which is always something we monitor pretty regularly. We're still using the 2024 peer average. The 2025, as I mentioned earlier, will be out sometime around August, and we'll make that adjustment. But our adjustments in cash flow are really a reflection of those projects that we'll be picking up, and those usually have a bigger impact on cash.
Todd, refresh my memory. When you go back about 5 years, our burn rate per day was something like 53,000. Am I remembering that correctly?
I think yeah, it was 53.
Okay,
But
so
if you go back, I think
that's double, or that's up 50% in 5 years.
yeah. So that, and
Yeah.
for those that don't, when we look at that 70, call it 79,000, that is a cost that there's no revenue. What it would take for us to keep running the airport every day before we run out of money, that's what those numbers are. Obviously, coming off of COVID, that's something that's more of an emphasis for us as well.
So everybody thinks of the phrase, everything's more expensive these days. There's proof right there. It is. It's gone up dramatically.
It's went up dramatically. And at one point it was 40-something, not that long ago. So again, this is a reflection of what's in our cost, but as John indicated, our costs have went up a lot. But fortunately, we're well above our reserves, even though we got some projects coming up. So knock on wood, we should be okay for the short term.
Does this include lost parking revenue for where we're building the deck?
This includes based on our latest estimates, yes. And I think we're a little, that you saw it on the one here, on the back here, on the budget variance here. You see it here, parking revenue. I think some of that is because we thought we would be a little further along, so parking revenue is doing better than we thought, partly because of that.
Yeah, but future revenues.
Future revenue is obviously in there as well, but it's a gradual process, so your points are well taken, so yes. Any other questions?
Okay. No other questions? Motion to accept the report? Mike? Jim? All in favor? Aye. Thank you, Todd.
Thank you, Frank. I will go to the executive committee. We're going to ask Darren to come forward, and we're going to be looking at a resolution to approve the acquisition of property and authorization for 1565 East Ray Street.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, we talked about this a good bit in committee. This is another residential property over on Ray Street. We've slowly acquired most of them. This will be one of the last two that we're trying to acquire over there, contiguous to the airport. Important for us, I think, for future developments and things, not necessarily in the very near future, but down the road for sure. Just not an area that we really want residential properties any longer. We'll be continuing to grow on that north side of the field. So we were able to negotiate the agreement of sale for $295,000, which is a little under the appraised value. And kind of in exchange for that, we actually are going to let the current owner stay on the property for 6 years rent-free, so good deal for him, and I think ultimately a good deal for us because we do get the property today, you know, so. He'll be responsible for maintaining the property, taxes, insurance, maintenance, and we have a lease with him that basically includes all of our typical indemnification, insurance requirements, and everything else. So I think at the end of the day, we're pretty happy with the deal we came up with. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Darren? Seeing none, I'll take a motion. Frank, second. Jonathan? All those in favor?
Aye.
Approved.
Thank you.
Darren? Business Committee, Jim?
Right, so I'm going to review the proposed responsible contractor policy.
And before we start discussion on this, I just wanted to give a couple little reminders on, we do follow Robert's rules after what the bylaws say, of course, what other laws say. And the bylaws do refer to Robert's rules, so you did get my memo yesterday, but just wanted to mention that any member may speak. Any member may speak twice, but only after everyone who wishes to speak has spoken one time. And then, the debate can be limited after a period of discussion, but only by a motion and second and 2/3 majority vote. Same thing for closing the debate. It has to have a 2/3 majority. And then there's, a couple other table and postpone are also options. And then actions that may be taken on the proposal. There can be motions for amendments. There can be a motion to substitute. There can be a motion to refer back to the committee. And if there are some sort of smaller, what we call friendly amendments that the chair accepts and there's no opposition to that, then those can also be made kind of on the fly here.
Are you going to put it up on the?
May I ask a question before we
Sure.
get into it? So I noticed Attorney Marcotte had sent us out that spreadsheet that said the items that were in the responsible contractor agreement versus the bid. And there are a number of items at the bottom of that list that are continue to be included in the bid document that were not included in our responsible contractor. What's the last letter that we're using?
Fee policy.
Will we continue to have those items included in the bids, or would this completely supersede that?
Yeah, so the bid documents continue to evolve. I always think of them as a living document, so we continue to revise those, and usually it means we add more things to them than take away. So that list will continue to be there in the bid documents and may grow over time.
Okay, so this wouldn't remove those or override it, it would just be added.
That's correct.
Thank you very much.
So I guess we'll start off with section 1. Does anyone have any comment for section 1? Number 1.
And everyone should have received what's on the screen now, the last draft from the prior discussion that was proposed for the airport authority, and then also that comparison chart so that just showed a little bit up.
Just the established formal apprenticeship training programs that are mentioned in section 1. Those are, is there a list of those?
I believe it's Class A apprenticeship.
Class A apprenticeship, and who provides that?
Department of Labor. That's right, Christine. Clarifying page. Number 2, responsible contractor requirements.
I think 100,000 is too low,
I agree.
I agree with that.
especially with the cost of everything these days. Costs that to fix your car sometimes, it seems like.
What do you think a good one would be?
I'm thinking $500,000. I don't know if that's too high or too low, but,
We originally proposed, I think, 2,500,000. I think 100's too low, 2 million might be too high. If we could strike somewhere in the middle, I'd like to see a compromise around maybe 1,250,000. That would just be what I would.
What would the 250 be?
Isn't it 1 million for all?
Million for the project.
Yeah, 1 million for the project.
This doesn't have the subs in.
Okay, got it.
I think,
Yeah, there's that.
I think there should be a carve out for subs. I think there should be a minimum. Again, if a signed contractor has a $15,000 contract, I don't know if he can be held to having a Class A apprenticeship program.
Well, I think we're gonna get to that in the waiver part. Oh. I don't know. I mean, there needs to be a motion made, so. Change.
Question,
I mean, I think,
Go ahead.
my question is, if they're amending the 100,000, they're still not changing the language, it's for the total project, correct?
Well, there needs to be a motion for that.
Oh, all right, I'm not gonna make that motion.
I'm more comfortable with just replacing 100,000 with 500,000.
That's a motion.
yeah, I was just gonna say, before there's a motion, like, make sure
we're
you
just
talk it
discussing.
through, and then there's some consensus on what the amendment is, proposed to be, and that's when the motion comes. So if there's still more discussion going on about the amounts, I would encourage you to do that, but if you've kind of decided like, okay, we're gonna amend that 100,000 now to 500 or 1 million, then someone can make that motion second
I mean,
and
I
vote
think
to
it-
approve
I think
that
it's too low,
amendment.
so we gotta do something there. So.
100, you're saying.
So that's for the prime. So the prime has to abide, do all the subcontractors have to abide by this as well?
It's for the overall project.
For the overall project?
Yeah. And I agree, 100,000 is too low. I think a million is too high. I'd be willing to, go up from 100,000, for sure. I like your number. 100, that's my, that's the number I like.
I'd like to kind of sit right in the middle. That's my opinion. Sit at 1 million. If for some reason we find that that's too loose, we could revisit it. But we're coming off of our prior discussion back in September at 2 million. I'd like to strike in the middle. That's just my thought.
Can we ask, point of order, can we ask the staff what they think?
Yeah.
Do you have an opinion on it?
Yeah, so I know in the original draft that was circulated last year, we did provide some values. I think it was the 2 and the 500,000. One of the reasons, just for point of clarity, one of the reasons we were proposing some different levels for subcontractors in particular, one of the nuances that we have as an airport is DOT and FAA requirements that we have to incorporate the use of disadvantaged business enterprises in our contracts or small business enterprise. A lot of those businesses are relatively small and likely don't have some of the other requirements covered, like the apprenticeship program, some other things in here. So we were trying to strike a balance where we could get participation from those particular required participants on contracts while still having some of that requirement language all apply to a certain level of work that occurs at the airport. So it's trying to get, what we're trying to accomplish here with the RCO, I think, as well as meet our federal obligation. So that was sort of the idea behind trying to bifurcate those numbers a little bit.
Why not have a small, even if it's small, carve out for subcontractors, and it's $50,000? I don't think that materially changes anything.
Jim, why don't you?
There's such low risk.
I think it should be over the total project, that's my opinion.
It's such low risk now.
So if you start carving all subcontractors, you're putting a bid document out that would be very unclear whether it's an RCO project, you know, because we're gonna determine the cost of the project by our engineers, so they're gonna come back and say, this thing's gonna come in at above your RCO, so you're gonna put it out with RCO attack. How do you, you know, you're gonna complicate it big time if you put, we're gonna bid this job RCO for this, and this, but if you're under this, you know, don't worry about the RCO. It's, you know, I mean, I think you're gonna complicate. I think an easier way to address that is you put the job out as a whole as an RCO, and then you look at those individual situations and you opt out. The airport takes a look at them, and then we opt out when necessary and when appropriate. You know, so the job would go out as an RCO, boom, boom, and then if we have issues with small, we can waive them at the end, opposed to trying to waive all these in the beginning when we don't even know what the bid's actually, you know, if you put I don't know, on the subcontractors, 100,000, well, if the job's right around 100,000, is it under RCO or not? For half the people bidding, it may be, for the other half, it isn't. So I think just you put a project out either under the RCO or not, I think, and that's my thought on that.
So you're thinking, Kevin, that would fall under the waiver portion of this?
If you have a small, if they come back and say, this is a $10,000, $25,000, $50,000, you know, let's waive that from the RCO, and, you know, that's when that would be adjusted as the numbers come in.
How would the prime be able to do that?
You're saying for a subcontractor.
Yeah, for a
the whole
subcontractor.
project.
Yeah.
I just don't know how the prime would be able to do that at the time of bid, since it's a public bid.
I don't know how you'd break it down if it's a public bid, what's RCO and what isn't, if you don't know what the bids are gonna come down, and we're putting a, you know, we're saying the same thing, I think, but kind of like, and then from the opposite angles.
I'll follow on Kevin's comment for a second. If I'm a prime contractor bidding on a job, I include subs that aren't qualified under the RCO, they don't have an apprenticeship program. I'm taking the risk when I submit the bid that the airport authority will waive the RCO language for those subs. Can a contractor do that? They can, but would they want to?
So here's what I would do if I was bidding it. If a subcontractor came in at $56,000 and the minimum is $50,000, I'd call that sub and say, hey, just making sure you have you're qualifying under this RCP. If somebody's at $48,000, I don't even have to worry about that because I know he's under $50,000. You know he's under the limit.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the responsibility is on the prime contractor, not the sub.
Because that's who's
That's who's submitting it and certifying it.
So let me ask you this, Kevin. Say you bid, right? And for specific subcontractor scope of work, you're not getting bids because of this RCO, right? When would would he submit a bid requesting a waiver for that specific?
Be too late. But you know what I would do is I'd make a number up, I'd throw it in, and then figure it out later.
Jim, your thought was? I think they do that in Lehigh County, don't they? If they don't get the bid, then they bid.
Yeah, but that's prime. That's for prime. If it's a sub, like say I didn't get I'm gonna keep using the same example.
Wouldn't it disqualify?
Say I didn't get a signage proposal. I might just throw in, I'm just gonna throw in $50,000, err on the side of caution on the high end, and I'll figure that out later.
So you're making assumptions.
I'm making an assumption.
And there's risk with assumptions.
As the prime bidder.
As the prime.
So that sounds muddy and messy, doesn't it? So I'm going back to my original, 500,000 for a total project. Everybody under that follows the RCP.
Well, that's the thing. If I can't find a signage contractor that can meet that qualification, that's where the prime has some additional risk, and with risk comes extra cost.
Right, but I believe when you submit the bid, you have to list your subcontractors on that in your bid, if I understand that. Is that the way it goes? Right, so you couldn't replace somebody, like I know what you're saying, hey, just put an allotment in for that, and I will let you know who the sub is later. I believe at the time of bids, all the subcontractors have to be listed to make sure that they.
I don't know if it's for every single trade.
What we've experienced on the prime, if you're prime, you're doing HVAC, you have to list your ATC person you're gonna be using, and then you cannot.
Yeah, I mean, that's
what I meant.
Yeah. I mean, that's a very high qualified.
Yeah, right, I'm just, okay, GC, you're doing painting or whatever, you have
Yeah.
to list that sub.
That's the challenge. You can't receive bids from general contractors with contingencies based on waivers.
I believe the waiver is if no bids are received. Is that correct? Right, if a GC does not submit a bid, any GC, then they go for the waiver. Okay? That would be with any prime.
But if the GC doesn't get a painting number, they're probably still gonna submit a bid.
Right.
Remember, this is your policy, and I understand there's talk about having a waiver. There's nothing in this draft right now, so
There
it's,
was in this draft, this was the original.
Yeah, whose draft is this?
oh, this is
What came from Elizabeth?
Yeah, this one,
This is ours, okay.
yeah, we're not
That's not the
discussing this.
Northampton.
Right,
It's
I'm
not like
confused because I see
that's not like
500,000 up there. I see 500,000.
That's not this.
Yeah, this, what's on the
That's
screen
not-
now was
The one we passed up.
not the one we're going for
Right,
right
this is
now.
the one we're
The
going.
original draft, we did take that, and obviously Elizabeth spent some time with it, Katie, I know, spent some time with it. We also had Kaplan Kirsch, who's our aviation law firm, review that for federal compliance. One suggestion might be that we get some time with Kaplan with the current draft, the new draft, to review that with them for federal compliance, because what I don't know is, how the language is different in this one than what we originally were working
I
from.
think
Right.
the FFA waiver that's in the original one, I think we are gonna put in here.
Right.
We're trying to get through this.
Right, there's a waiver process, no, and understood. But I do have concern, though, that there may be language in this that wouldn't pass the FAA's review. The other thing is whether or not FAA legal has to review this prior to us putting it in place. So I have to verify that, because we've seen
I
that
have
done
a question.
in other locations.
I have a question. I have my hand up for quite some time.
Well, we're not on the screen, so just talk.
To the point of Director, this is very, very similar to project labor agreements, okay? But it's not, right? It's carved out, and this is kind of what you guys want, and I'm kind of paying attention here and following along, Mr. Stout. But I also know that with the federal aviation and everything, there's PLAs that are on every single project in the Philadelphia airport, the Newark airport, and probably within 250, 500 mile range, probably another 3 or 4 airports. So I don't see how this would be a problem with any federal aviation stuff. In fact, I think it promotes a safety approach, which I've been looking at a lot of websites about aviation safety, and I just think it's a proactive move, and I'm really proud of the board that they're even entertaining something like this. I'll rest. Thank you.
But just real quick though, under scope or purpose, it talks about this is to supplement, not replace. So we're not replacing any FAA regulations. This is only to supplement.
Understood, but there is language in this draft based on, again, my cursory review, because just in looking at it since our last meeting, that I think could be in conflict with some of the requirements specific to airports, DOT and FAA requirements. But again, I'm not the expert attorney on this. It would be beneficial to get our council, aviation council, to review it and make any suggestions regarding provisions so that we don't have any crosstalk between federal requirements and
Yeah, I'll assume Bill's right. It sounds like you did the research on it. But there may be language in those PLAs that address the FAA concerns that Tom's raising that gets
Sure.
them over the hump, because we went through the drill with the FAA negotiating land leases, and Lord, that was a challenge,
Mhm.
and that was just the land lease.
Yeah, but, you know, I think to Bill McGee's point, yes, can we get this done? Yeah, I absolutely think we can get it done. It's just making sure we have the language written the way it needs to write in order for FAA legal to be comfortable with how we're phrasing some of this.
And that can also get achieved with the severability clause, meaning if something is not compliant with FAA regulations, then that is just stricken. Right, and that is stricken from the
Yeah.
policy, and like I highlighted, just from the perspective of local counsel, I highlighted a sentence in this policy that, oh, we need to tighten that up, or we need to clarify some things before we can really allow that to be in there. Otherwise, the whole thing gets stricken because it's not, in compliance with other legal requirements.
Okay, but the threshold, the FAA probably wouldn't weigh in on a threshold. Probably not. Right? Probably not.
I can't speak to that as
I mean,
not
everything that
FAA
I've been,
counsel.
everything that I've been reading, like they have their own federal procurement standards. One thing that they do care about is like small business entry. And we would have to get like exact legal guidance on it, but the threshold could come into that. Just same with the apprenticeship language, but as we can include those things so long as there's a waiver clause or a severability clause. I think we just gotta be careful with their procurement standards. Yeah, we could have it say whatever we want. We just need to make sure that we're compliant with federal, and if we have any state grants that we also have to comply.
Right, we all understand that. I'm gonna make the motion just to change that 100,000 to 500,000.
Is there a second?
Sturchek.
Mike Sturchek. Is there any more discussion on that?
And this is when the one speaker, two chances rule would come into effect now that there's been a motion. So I do want to encourage open discussion before the motion is made. So that's what we just did.
Hearing no discussion, all those in favor?
Wait.
I just stand on my original point. I think it's too low, but I'd leave it up to the rest of them.
Yeah, and I agree with Jonathan.
I'd be in favor of that if we have a carve out for subcontractors, a lower.
Any other discussion? There's a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
3 nays. That's out of it. Number 3, contractor responsibility certifications. Have any discussion with this?
Question in regard to, from an operational standpoint, how are certain terms that seem to be, that should be defined, aren't defined? So for example, in subparagraph C number 4, firm is not defaulted on any project. What's the definition of default? They come at it from a banking perspective, there's 6 different definitions of default. How under this RCO is that defined? And that's a general question because there's cases like that through it.
Thanks. Bond. It's usually what I consider default if they had to go after the bond.
Okay.
If they had to go, project failed and they had to fashion a bond. That's my interpretation, but maybe we should define it.
To me, I think we should. I think that's, and there are several instances in the doc where I think we should have defined terms. Now, again, I come from a banking perspective, we over-define things. So I think that is a.
I'm in construction, we under-define things.
Yeah,
Get
but,
it done.
well, like Kevin said, if you default, you walk away from a project, right? Like, you gotta pull the bond. To us, that's default, but I understand there could be many other.
Yep.
How is
definitions
it,
out there.
is there some sort of disclosure on the bid form that they have to submit?
Yes,
How is it worded there?
probably just defaulted.
Maybe we should try to match.
Is there a motion to change number 4?
Let's just, well, let's see what it says on our bid form.
I can't pull that up right now. So it can be modified to say like in a legal proceeding or something that, but I think working on what the definition is and what it means, you know, for the purposes of this is important too.
Go ahead, Bill.
If I may weigh in on this is Northampton counties. They haven't had any, I mean, this is the same language. I mean, why are we twisting this around? I mean, this has been around for a long time. And if you leave it a little ambiguous, it gives the airport authority a little bit of latitude, you know? Maybe there's something else other than they called a bond or something that's, you know, really something that needs to be looked at. You know, you have a problem issue. So that's just that's all I have. Food for thought.
Yeah, and I will freely admit from a contractual standpoint, I don't like ambiguity. I think that just sets up lawyers making money and everything getting bogged down.
President
No offense,
solicitor
Elizabeth.
accepted.
Was that Paul?
President solicitor accepted.
Oh, President solicitor.
He just emailed.
Like, I come from a family of 4 lawyers, so I have
My
lots of comments
my
about
son-in-law's a
lawyers.
lawyer, so.
Still starting. Thanksgiving was rough some years, Mike.
Ryan, do we know what it says in the bid document for that?
I'd have to look. I know we do ask about default, the exact wording we can.
So can we make a motion to have it match whatever is in the?
But again, this is only
I
a
wouldn't do
supplement,
that.
it's not replacing the bid docs. If it's already in the
True,
bid
I mean,
docs,
yeah,
But is this supplementing or superseding or?
Supplementing.
It says supplement.
It says supplement, in the beginning, it just says supplement, it's not superseding, it's not replacing.
It wouldn't
We already have the
supersede.
bid docs there, it's just laying on top of
Yeah,
it.
if it doesn't supersede it, then whatever the bid documents says
I'll go
goes.
Back to the beginning, purpose, supplement, not replace.
I understand.
Well, I'm just saying, though, that's like, if we just focus on that, yes, we're not looking to replace anything.
Yeah, and that gets interesting because my thought when you mentioned that was you simply reference the bid docs as included herein. But then every time we want to tweak the bid docs, they have to come back to board for approval because you're altering a document approved by the board. And that slows things down very
So,
quickly.
right, but it might be better to look at the bid docs to see what the definition of default is in the
Yeah.
bid docs than
Oh, I agree.
than this here.
Yeah, definitely. And there are a number of terms in here that to me appear that we would want definitions. So we'd want to make sure that those are identified.
I think we leave it as is.
I'd leave it, I mean, just discussion, I'd leave it as is, and the bid doc should address that here for the airport. And if it doesn't, then we need to review the bid docs for the airport.
I'm fine with that, John. Define it in the bid docs, leave this as is.
Okay.
It's just a supplemental tail.
As long as we have it defined somewhere. That's my point. Like number 6, we have any crime. Is crime improper trash disposal? And is that something that we would want to elevate into an issue of default?
Speeding ticket.
Those
Well,
are
it's
two
crime.
crimes.
Contracting business.
Yeah. Do you have trash disposal at your site?
Well, I'll tell you, I can tell you, I know for a fact that if you get fined through, what would it be, the conservative district?
A conservation district.
Yeah, conservation district, you default. I mean, you can't bid.
Oh, that
Those
hurts, yeah.
fines are in there.
Well, that's every site contract on the high
Environmental
value.
laws prevailing wage.
Oh, right. Yeah,
Has anyone not run afoul of the conservation district?
Not that I know.
Yeah. Took me 4 years to get out from under an MPDES permit for my Buckeye branch.
That's early.
Again, do we just define that in bid documents?
Yeah, we have that in there.
Is there any other discussion for number 3? Number 4, notice of intent to award the contract. Does anyone have any issues with that? And I will say, if you're on virtual and you want to say something, just say it, because we have the screen up here. I can't see you on the screen, so if you do want to talk. Number 5, subcontractor list, subcontractor responsibility certifications. Discussion on that. Number 6, contractor responsibility review and determination. Discussion. Number 7, subcontractor responsibility review requirements. Discussion. Number 8, false or misleading responsibility certifications.
I wonder if 3 years is long enough.
Where are you at, John? That's 3
The
years.
bottom of the page,
Yeah.
8.
Does that say 3 years? I
Yeah,
missed
if you
it.
look about 4 lines up.
Oh, I see it. Well, again, is there something in our bid docs? Again, this is,
Yeah, good
right,
question.
if the bid docs, Ryan, do you think bid docs address that?
It does, yes. I
Recall
don't
what
know
it
the
is?
duration, but it does address.
It doesn't have a duration in there, though?
I don't recall what it is,
Yeah.
but it does have that.
Okay,
I think the FAA requires a lot of those as well.
okay.
So if the bid doc has the time frame, should we just remove a time frame from this?
No, because this, again, just supplements. It's not
Okay.
superseding or replacing.
Yeah, the key where I was, in terms of the 3 years, is the language here is knowingly or reckless disregard for the truth. This is intent to deceive. This isn't making a mistake.
Well, this is to deceive on the subcontractor list,
Yeah.
if I'm correct.
Yeah, but this is intent to deceive. This isn't, oh, I screwed up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It says a
It should be
so
forever.
it says a contractor or a subcontractor.
Yeah. Right.
Any further discussion on that? Before we get into number 9, I know from talking, the waivers are a thing, so I don't know if we wanna discuss if we want waivers, what we want them to be. I do think the one that was provided in the first draft with the FFA, obviously we can't break like the FFA law. We should probably put that one in. I thought this had a waiver section in it. I know the Lehigh County RCO has it in. I think Justin brought that one.
Yeah, before you talk about that, like, for me, I understand the waiver for, there's only one contractor that does the safety concrete, whatever that's called.
EMOS.
Oh, the crush street.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
there aren't too many contractors that do that, so, and I believe that's nationwide, right? There aren't too many out there, so you need a waiver for that. I'd understand a waiver for that. I'm not sure what else.
I think there's 4 items in the waiver in the original Lehigh Northampton Airport Authority one, the draft that we had.
Could you put that one up, please?
That's, what paragraph number is that, Mike? That's section 5, waiver. There it is.
So what I'm speaking about would be number 2, right?
Yeah.
And
All
then-
of those are good.
anything with FAA would fall under number 3, I'm assuming, right?
Actually, I think number 4.
3 or 4?
Yeah, 3 or
Yeah,
4.
probably both.
Yeah, 4 is where the specialized concrete company comes in because they tell us we can only use that company.
Talk about a monopoly.
Yep.
Again, electrical.
I mean, is there an issue with any of those, even with number 1, if there's no bids?
I don't like number 1 because, no qualified bids have been received. We've always gotten bids at the airport.
Are you shaking your head no?
No, Tom's shaking
Well,
his
but
head.
if you're more if everybody's more comfortable with 1, right?
Can we just take section 5 and insert it?
I would add one thing to it, though. I would add that the waiver may only apply for that specific project. Like, I'm not against any of those 4, those make sense to me.
I thought this was project by project.
This would be project specific, right?
I thought going off of the Lehigh County RCO, where that language was written by an attorney. And that's the only difference really between these 4 and that one, and I just matched them up.
Is that in the body? Could you scroll up, please, just for first part?
I mean, if it says it somewhere else, it's fine.
For the project, all right.
For the project.
But each one of these is for an individual project, not a particular vendor.
Right.
Or contractor.
Right.
Each one is for the project that they're
Yes.
bidding on, right?
Correct.
And again, your bid docs are specific to that project.
Yeah,
It's
I
just
don't
rides
think
the bid docs.
That was just the only difference, really. I mean, there was, a word here or there, but the general intent of that and the general intent of the one from the Lehigh County, that's the only thing that's different.
Are you suggesting maybe that in this introductory, the requirements of this policy may be waived in whole or in part by resolution for the following reasons? If it were just to be added, the requirements of this policy may be waived on a per project basis or for a particular project. Is that something you would want in there? I mean, I think if you go through 1, 2, 3, 4, it's clear that it's pertaining to a project and you have to ask for the waiver and there has to be a resolution. So I don't think additional language is needed, but if you want to be sure that this waiver doesn't somehow have the effect of applying in the future, I mean, your resolution can also deal with that, so.
Right, and I believe 1 talks about project, 2 is project.
Yep.
3 is grants.
I'm good with that.
Well, the whole document is.
I'm good with that.
Does this need a motion?
Section 5?
Nope.
We need a motion to
To add
insert
this section to. the-
section 5 from, I'll make the motion to insert section 5 from the, I don't know what to call it, the Lehigh Northampton Airport Authority proposal into the current proposal that we're reviewing.
Is there a second?
I'll second that motion of whatever he just said.
I understand.
I'll second that.
Thanks, Justin.
Any other discussion? Yeah, just one question. Tom, with this section requiring it to come back to the board, does this slow you down dramatically, or is this something you can manage?
Yeah, if we're talking about a resolution required in every instance, yeah. It would slow the process down, right?
That was gonna be my question, and Jim, could we do something where it doesn't require a resolution, but it requires final reporting at the next meeting? So that it can keep them moving, but yet they have a responsibility to report.
I mean, I guess the motion could be amended if,
Well, hang on.
Well, we have the motion, so we're gonna move that in, and then once this goes back for final revisions, you can make that amendment.
No,
But his motion would stand.
You can also amend the motion.
If everybody,
Yeah.
if he's okay.
This could be like a friendly, like if everyone's in agreement, we can amend the motion.
Yeah.
Right, but can I ask, so I think, Jonathan, are you saying if the airport itself makes that determination? And
So
not the
they-
authority, I mean,
Correct, the administration.
the administration, yeah.
So they have a criteria.
Right.
In terms of when a waiver would be applicable. They make a decision based on their interpretation of the criteria. they continue to move forward, but they have a responsibility to bring that back to the board
For reporting.
and report it
Reporting.
I think
for
that's fair.
transparency.
It's worked like that in the past, I believe. We've always been informed.
I mean, there's some times where we don't have a meeting for 2 months, so.
Whether it's written or not, I think that's how Northampton functions, basically, right?
Kevin and Bill were on the council, so.
Bill?
The waivers came back to council. I'm not sure if they, I can't honestly answer that. I don't know if they kept moving along, but I know we had to approve any waivers that were changed.
I'd just
It
like,
wasn't an issue.
I'd just like to keep us out of the way of his staff and trust them, but require reporting.
I know Lehigh County comes back to the board. I know that they definitely do. Again, I don't know if they're moving on the back end or not, but I know they come back to the board for the waiver itself.
We're under
Seen that.
motion though, so I spoke once.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm comfortable with, Jonathan.
I'd make a motion to
Bring it
amend
back
his
to the
motion.
body. I mean,
So do we wanna, let's
Mike can withdraw
reframe.
the motion and then we can have the new motion. that's-
Bill, go ahead.
I just on that's the most important part of this whole process, is them attesting that they have all these requirements and signing their name to it so they don't perjure themselves, and that we know that we're getting the quality that this document represents. So I think it's a very important part of the process. And anytime that there's ever a question or something, I'm sure like I don't know who spoke, but I'm sure the administration will handle it the right way. So that's all. Thank you.
So, do you wanna withdraw?
Yeah, let me withdraw the motion.
Yeah, you gonna go again?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion to withdraw my motion. Is that the way it works?
I think you could just
I think you
withdraw
can
it.
just
I
withdraw.
have to withdraw it with the permission of the second.
yes,
Oh,
Yes.
okay, and then it doesn't have to be
Justin.
voted on.
absolutely.
And who seconded that? Ann, I think you, did you second?
Justin
That was
beat
you.
me to it.
Okay, so you okay, are you okay?
absolutely.
So
Okay,
what's
so the motion is withdrawn.
Okay, so you wanna make a new motion?
I don't know what the motion.
So, so the motion is to incorporate the September LNAA RCO waiver language, but to amend that language to remove the requirement for a board resolution, but rather include a requirement that after the board moves forward, they have a reporting responsibility.
After management.
After management moves forward, they have a requirement to report back to the board.
In a timely fashion.
I'll second that motion.
Got all that, Lynn? Justin?
I
second.
understand.
Fashion.
Thank you, John.
I understood it, so I'll second it.
Any more discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Ayes have it. And then, so I'm guessing that'll go in as 9. And then,
And then this will be 10.
This would be 10.
yeah, so
Make
number
a
9 on
motion
the
to
document.
renumber.
No, we can take that.
Execution of the final contract. Any discussion on that? No. Liz, I did send you that RCO form. I don't know if you had a chance to look at that. I mean, it might have to be edited, but basically what it is once contractor bids, they fill the form out saying that they're abiding by all of this. So then, if they're not, or they're lying or whatever, we have a document that they've checked off. I don't know if we wanna talk about that today or if that,
Yeah, I think that's something that can be developed subsequent to this because the policy does require that form, so it does have to
Okay.
accompany, but we don't have to handle them just now.
okay, so I guess with the changes that we made, is there a motion to accept this?
I would make the motion to accept it pending approval by legal and the FAA and all the other parties that have to review this.
Yeah, I'll second that. Yes, I agree.
Any other discussion with that?
Question, procedurally, should this go back to business committee to finalize the language in the policy?
I was told it doesn't have to.
It doesn't have to unless there's something that is to be further changed, you can recommit it to business committee, but given that your changes here today were accepted and were pretty minor, we just have the 2 points, the threshold and the waiver, and those have been voted on and accepted, you can have the motion to accept what you did today, basically.
Before it's officially adopted, is there an opportunity to review the complete document? Because we're going off of multiple RCOs here.
Well, I think if, as the motion is right now, you're basically saying, we approve this so long as FAA approves it.
With the changes.
And so,
With the changes made.
right, with the changes that we discussed today. So if FAA says, if council says that's fine, and then if it does have to be reviewed by the FAA specifically, and they say it's fine, then it's adopted. If there has to be a change that needs to come back to the attention, then that's,
Then we have to amend it then.
then it would have to be amended separately.
And we would have to approve the amendments.
Yes.
Right, and then we're almost starting over in a way, and you have to do the same process, which you've already done the work, but you do have to do the vote.
Right, but the adoption part's a little open-ended because we don't know how long it's going to take for review.
Right.
Right?
I'd like to see.
No, I don't, I
Right,
have no
we-
idea how long, other people are gonna take on this.
Well, the FAA might not have a timely review of it, and then,
Well, I think
Did they
FAA council
review- did
can
they
make
review
a
the
recommendation
original?
as to, does the FAA itself need to review this? And
That's what we
and
need
if the
to
answer is no, then it comes back a lot sooner. If the answer is yes, then we can get a time frame.
okay.
Did the FFA review the first one?
Yeah, we did get
Yes.
feedback from our aviation council on that.
Was there any issues with that one?
Well, again, it was a draft of a number of RCOs, because I think we had some templates that the solicitor's office had for Lehigh County, Northampton County. I think there was Delaware.
Yeah, the Bridge Commission had a
West
policy.
Norton too, I think.
Weston.
Yes, yeah, we just looked at a
Few,
bunch
so,
and
yeah.
saw what was consistent and created our.
So, yeah, it was an amalgamation of several, I think, right?
All right.
All right, so you're gonna move forward with a provisional approval based on FAA or FAA council's review and/or, and them approving it, and then it'll automatically be adopted.
If we receive approval with no comments.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with that. I generally understand the concepts here.
Or any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
That's it for the business committee.
Thank you, Jim.
Yep, thank you, Jim.
Okay. All right, thank you, Mr.
Mr.
Chair.
Director?
Do one vote at a time?
We got, I don't think there were any nays. We got all the aye votes.
Are there any nay votes? No. They're all ayes.
I didn't hear any.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. Todd went through the numbers in terms of traffic for March. Just taking a look at April checkpoint throughput, domestically, it's up about 3%. Here at ABE, also mirroring that up about 3% over last April. May scheduled seats for us, relatively flat, up about 0.5%, domestically up about 1.5. So again, continuing to trend as we see, we have some additional service coming online in May and June as well, with some Chicago service, some additional seats on Delta's upgauged aircraft. In terms of what's happened since our last board meeting on March 31st, we did host Catasauqua Area School District. That was an aviation education tour here at ABE. April 20th through the 24th, Volunteer Appreciation Week. Recognized 65 of our volunteers that support a number of our programs here. Couldn't do any of those without them, so certainly appreciate their help. April 21st, we hosted 50 attendees from the Greater Lehigh Valley Chamber of Commerce. I think that was Whitehall and Bethlehem Chambers.
It was.
Okay. We had about 50 attendees, if that's sounds right.
We had to cut it off. They
Yeah.
want to do another one for the
Okay,
people.
so we
that
had a
couldn't
nice
make
little
it.
tour. We had our FAA air traffic manager here, TSA managers, so getting people through a number of parts of the facilities. I think that was well received.
And I just thank employees on that tour, they really enjoyed it.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I say, I went with the TSA folks.
Yes.
At that part.
Yeah.
So I just said, how you doing through the shutdown? And the response was, at this airport, we did fine because of the airport support and the community support.
Mhm.
I mean, they're really very proud to be at this airport.
Yeah. Great group. April 21st through the 26th, just had our TSA pre-check open enrollment. So 320 registered and walk-ins for that. So a number of people.
Is that a record number or is that?
Probably not a record number, but pretty close.
Okay.
So continue to fill those appointments up. And then April 23rd, we hosted Take Your Child to Work Day, which is always a great day. So we had 22 children here making their way around the airport with mom, dad, or whomever, and it was a lot of fun. Some upcoming events. May 4th, we're hosting the Commonwealth Charter Academy for an aviation education tour, again, part of our educational outreach. 20 students there. May 14th, the Executive Education Academy Charter School in Allentown. 12 students coming in for that one. May 19th, we're going to be over at the Good Shepherd Rehab at Center Valley, hosting a Traveling with a Disability program. We always do a nice little education program, bring along some folks from our staff, from TSA, so airlines. So it's usually a good informative event for folks over at Good Shepherd. May 26th is our next Fear of Flying seminar at AVE. That's already full. We got 13. May 28th, we're attending a STEAM Expo at Orfield Middle School, which is Parkland School District. So we try to get over to those, as many as we can. And May 30th, we're hosting the second annual Girls in Flight event at Queen City. We already have 30 registered for that one. And with that, that concludes my report, Mr. Chair. Happy to answer any questions.
Just for the board's sake, for the May meeting, are we having the annual taco truck that?
That's a great question. I don't think we have a taco truck scheduled this year.
We'll do like a taco bar for the board meeting, but not a taco truck this year.
There will
Sorry.
be nothing for the employees for the May, okay.
Yeah.
Because that seemed to be an annual
Event
event.
for the employee, right?
Okay, just checking,
But we do have other events for our employees, so.
okay. Any other
Other
questions for
taco
Tom?
Other than food
They eat
related.
tacos,
That's
I
still
know.
there.
There was a
Madam
survey, they eat
Solicitor, you're
tacos.
up. Your report is-
Has everyone completed their statements of financial interest? If you haven't, you have a few more days. They're due by Friday. Most of what I've been working on, we discussed at this meeting. So property acquisition, obviously the RCP. There is also a property in Hanover Township that was, we had sought tax immunity on it. The county said no, but they have now changed their minds. So there is immunity granted for this parcel that will become effective as soon as we have a stipulation that we submit to the court. And I'm working on the records retention project and just what can be physically disposed of now that everything is kept electronically. That's a little bit of a process for that, given the public entity. That's about it.
Okay.
No word from the Supreme Court.
I checked last night. Nope.
Okay, members of any new business? Okay, we'll have the election of officers for the new officers.
Oh, one moment. I just want to remind you, conflicts training next month as well. So we'll have a little extra time for that presentation. Yes.
Is that the one I go?
Yes.
You fell asleep last year.
No, 2 years ago.
Was it 2 years ago?
Yeah, he was a good boy last year.
Okay, we're gonna break this up a little bit. The chairman, Mike Stershik, vice chairman, Frank Fasciano, and Secretary Treasurer Paul Anthony. Are there any other nominations for any of those three positions? Seeing none, I'll take a motion for those three positions. Ann, second by Kevin. All in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations to the new officers.
Thank you.
Okay, next, Northampton County, the committee had Bob Brooks for the representative. Are there any other nominations for Northampton County representative? If not, I will take a motion. Do I need a motion from just Northampton County people
Yes.
for this? Northampton County people, will you make a motion for Bob Brooks?
Yeah, I'll make the motion.
Okay, do I have a second from somebody from
I'll
Northampton?
second that.
Okay, Bill.
McGee.
Okay, all in favor of Bob Brooks for the Northampton County resident, just Northampton County voters, please.
Aye.
Aye, okay,
Aye.
Bob is the Northampton County representative. The Lehigh County nominee is Justin Grimshaw. Are there any other nominees for Lehigh County representative? If not, Lehigh County people, would someone from Lehigh County nominate? And John second. All those in favor from Lehigh County?
Aye.
Justin, you are the Lehigh County representative. I will be becoming the past chair on the executive committee, and the chair before me, Mr. Hayes, will be going out to pasture. I just want to thank the board for allowing me to be your chair for the past 2 years. I really appreciate your support and vote of confidence. I really enjoyed it. And now it's time for Mike to take over.
Yeah, I appreciate your leadership, Glenn. Thank you.
Executive session? Okay, motion for adjournment. We are adjourned.